when everything around you feels uncertain, when the noise of the world grows louder than the whispers of your own heart, when you're standing in the middle of your life, and it feels like the walls are caving in from all directions, I want you to pause, just for a moment, and listen not to them, not to the fear, not even to your racing thoughts, but listen to this: you are not lost. You are being rerouted. You were never meant to crumble beneath the weight of doubt. You were meant to rise from it. There comes a point in every life when the voices of limitation try to rewrite the script of your destiny, when the dreams you once carried so boldly begin to feel like burdens, when the promises you believed for seem delayed, distant, or dead, and in that silent battle between what you see and what you know deep inside, you begin to question, is this really meant for me? Am I enough? Am I too late? But let me tell you something so powerful, it can break chains in your mind today. One sentence, one truth, has the power to silence every lie of doubt you've ever believed. And once you speak it, nothing can ever stay the same again. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Say it, whisper it, shout it if you must. But don't let a day go by without letting this truth settle in your bones. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not running out of time. You are not being punished. The very things that feel like delays are often disguises for divine preparation. Everything that's falling apart is silently falling together under a higher law than fear, than time, than logic. When doubt wraps itself around your heart like a cold wind in the middle of the night, this sentence becomes your fire. This sentence becomes your anchor. Because divine order knows no confusion. It does not operate by human panic. It does not tremble at statistics, circumstances, or even your past. Divine order is a force, an invisible current moving everything in your life toward alignment. Even the heartbreak, even the closed doors, even the moments where you said, "This doesn't make sense." Because divine order doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to be spoken. The moment you declare it, the atmosphere shifts. The energy within your home, your thoughts, your bank account, your body, it all begins to respond to that sentence. Divine order is not a wish. It is not a vague hope. It is a spiritual law that realigns what your fear has distorted. It straightens what confusion has twisted. It calms the storm not by changing the waves, but by shifting you, the one standing in the middle of the storm, into knowing, into trust, into surrender. Every time you feel overwhelmed by what hasn't happened yet, speak it. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. You don't need to know how. That's the realm of the divine. Your only job is to speak, believe, and prepare. Prepare like the blessing is already on its way. Walk like the door is already unlocked. Smile like the miracle is already done. Because when divine order is in motion, what is yours cannot miss you. What is meant for you will find you, even through chaos, even through darkness, even through delays. Doubt is a thief. It disguises itself as caution. It masks itself in logic. It wears the voice of the people who didn't believe in you. It sounds like the old memories of the time you tried and failed. But divine order speaks differently. It says, even this is working for you. It says, your steps are guided, even when you can't see where they land. It says, you are not forgotten. You are being prepared. Doubt shows you what's missing. Divine order shows you what's being arranged. The beauty of this one sentence is that it doesn't just calm your heart, it commands your world. It commands confusion to seize. It commands opportunities to open. It commands the forces around you to cooperate with your highest good. Not through force, not through effort, but through trust. Divine order does not need your panic. It needs your permission. Speak it. Speak it in the morning when your feet touch the ground. Speak it when your phone is silent and you're waiting for an answer. Speak it when the bank account looks like a joke and your bills look like a threat. Speak it when the doctor gives you a report that shakes you. Speak it when someone walks away. Speak it when doors close, when hearts break, when timelines shift. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Because the moment you align with that truth, you remove yourself from the grip of fear. You move out of the vibration of panic and into the frequency of power. You begin to live not by sight, but by spiritual vision. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, even this is being used for me. You stop trying to force your way and start flowing with the higher way. Doubt doesn't die all at once. But every time you speak that sentence, it loses a little more power. Every time you affirm divine order, you take your power back from confusion, from regret, from bitterness, from fear. There is a rhythm to your life even when you can't hear it. There is a sacred unfolding, even when all you see are the broken pieces. Divine order is the blueprint behind the scenes. It is the current beneath the surface. It is the rearranging of people, moments, and miracles to meet you right where you are and lift you into where you were always meant to be. So trust the delays. Trust the silence. Trust the detours, not because they feel good, but because divine order cannot lead. What looks like the end is often the beginning. What feels like rejection is redirection. What seems empty is actually being cleared for the overflow. But none of this can reach you until you align. And that alignment begins the moment you open your mouth and say, "Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs." You weren't born to live beneath the weight of fear. You weren't created to shrink in the face of uncertainty. You were meant to walk boldly into every room, into every challenge, into every decision, knowing that something higher is at work for your good. And the moment you speak those words, you tap into that power. You move from guessing to knowing, from chasing to attracting, from doubting to resting. This isn't just a sentence. It's a sword, a shield, a key. It unlocks what fear has held hostage. It opens pathways that hustle could never reach. It silences the voices of the past, the critics, the doubts, and even the self-sabotage that's lived in your head for too long. And slowly, almost without warning, your life begins to shift, not because you figured it out, but because you finally allowed something greater to flow through you. The world may still swirl in chaos. Things may not instantly look different, but inside of you something becomes unshakable. And that is where true change begins. Because once peace is established within, no storm outside can take you under. Once divine order has your mind, no fear can hijack your path. Once you speak the truth, everything false begins to fall away. So today, when the voices rise, when the panic builds, when you start thinking it's too late or too far gone or too broken, come back to this. Come back to your truth. Come back to the sentence that silences doubt, commands peace, and opens doors. Come back to divine order. Speak it again. Speak it until your bones remember. Speak it until your heart aligns. Speak it until your life reflects it. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. And every time you say it, the invisible becomes visible. The impossible becomes inevitable. The unseen begins to unfold in ways your eyes could have never imagined, but your spirit always knew. And isn't that what you've always sensed? Somewhere deep beneath the noise of the world, beyond the fear, behind the walls you built just to survive. That quiet, unwavering knowing that your life was never meant to be average. That you were never born to merely exist, to scramble for crumbs, to hope things work out someday. You've always known, even in your hardest nights, that there was something more. A force guiding you, holding space for your greatness, even while your heart trembled in the waiting. That knowing, it's not arrogance, it's not delusion, it's spiritual memory. It's the whisper of the divine calling you back to alignment, back to truth, back to the sentence that breaks every chain of fear, poverty, limitation, loneliness, and confusion. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Say it again, this time, slower. Let it wash over the wounds. Let it pour into the cracks left by disappointment. Let it flood the places in you where hope has gone quiet. You see, when you speak divine order, you're not just repeating words, you're creating a new atmosphere. You're speaking to every part of your life that feels chaotic, stuck, or uncertain, and commanding it to remember that it is governed by a higher law, not by chance, not by circumstance, but by purpose. You're not a victim of life. You are a vessel of divine expression. And doubt only creeps in when you've forgotten who you are and whose power you carry. It convinces you to beg for scraps when the table was always set for you. But you don't have to live in survival mode anymore. You don't have to chase people, force outcomes, or fear tomorrow. All you have to do is align. All you have to do is remember. The truth has always been within you. It was there when you were overlooked. It was there when the door slammed shut. It was there when you cried in secret, pretending to be strong. And it is still here now, stronger than ever, ready to move mountains if you dare to believe again. Not in the world, not in the people who failed you, but in divine order, in that sacred alignment that brings everything back into balance the moment you say the words. There is no chaos too great that divine order cannot rearrange, no heartbreak too deep that divine love cannot restore, no path too far off course that divine intelligence cannot reroute. So even if it all looks wrong right now, even if the money's not there, the healing hasn't come, the love hasn't arrived, or the answer hasn't shown up, say the sentence anyway. Say it not because of what you see, but because of what you believe. Because faith isn't blind, it sees deeper. It sees through the fog. It sees the blueprint when all your human eyes can see is rubble. That's the power of speaking divine order. It bypasses fear. It cancels the timeline. It lifts you out of panic and seats you in peace. Not a passive peace, but the kind of peace that knows, that moves, that expects, that prepares the guest room even before the blessing rings the doorbell. This sentence, this truth, is not just for emergencies. It's for your everyday. For when you're walking into meetings. For when you're waiting for results. For when you're about to make a decision that could change everything. For when you're tired of pretending to be okay. Say it then. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Let it be the first thing you say when you wake up, and the last thing you say before you sleep. Let it become the rhythm of your heart, the tone of your thoughts, the fragrance of your presence. Watch what happens when you begin to carry this energy. Watch how people respond, how doors open, how what once felt hard becomes effortless. Because divine order brings with it divine ease, not laziness, not apathy. But the kind of ease that comes when you're no longer rowing upstream, when you're no longer forcing what was never meant for you, when you're finally letting life carry you, not crush you. And people will wonder. They'll ask how you're so calm when everything looks uncertain. They'll ask why you're glowing, why things just seem to happen for you. They won't understand the power of a mind that's aligned, the power of a heart that no longer entertains fear, the power of a soul that speaks in truth, not in doubt. But you'll know, you'll smile. And maybe, just maybe, you'll teach them to speak it too. Because this isn't just about you. You were never meant to keep this to yourself. Every time you speak divine order, you give others permission to believe. Every time you rise, you lift those around you. You were born to be a living example of what alignment looks like, of what happens when a person dares to replace doubt with divine truth. And still there will be moments. Moments when fear creeps back in, when the old thoughts try to make a home in your mind, when everything seems to go still and it feels like nothing is working. In those moments, don't fight the silence. Don't curse the quiet. Return to the sentence. Speak it again, even when it feels lifeless. Speak it again, even when the tears come. Speak it again, even if your voice trembles. Because every time you say it, you're shifting something. Maybe not outside yet, but inside, yes. And it always begins inside. That's where faith is built. That's where the miracles start. That's where doubt dies. In the quiet, in the unseen, in the space between despair and destiny, where the brave ones keep speaking truth, even when it echoes back as silence. Speak it anyway. Declare it anyway. Breathe it in until your entire being begins to believe it without question. Until your heart beats in rhythm with divine certainty. Until your actions match your alignment. Until your life becomes proof of what happens when someone stops living by fear and starts living by divine order. It's not just a sentence. It's a new beginning. A new chapter, a new way of moving, loving, trusting, receiving. And as you continue to speak it, you'll realize something breathtaking. You were never waiting on life to change. Life was waiting on you. Because the moment you decide to speak from power instead of panic, the entire universe leans in. It listens, it rearranges. Not because you're begging, but because you're finally aligned. You're no longer asking from lack. You're declaring from truth. And that changes everything. You start to see it in small ways first. A random call. A door you forgot you knocked on years ago opens. The heaviness in your chest starts to lift in the mornings. You wake up not with dread, but with a quiet expectancy. Not everything around you has changed, but you have. And that's where it all begins. Inside your thoughts, inside your words, inside the atmosphere you carry with you. You are not waiting on the stars to align. They already have. You are not hoping for permission to rise. It's already been given. And this one sentence. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Becomes your sword in the unseen. Every time you speak it, doubt begins to fade like morning mist under the heat of the sun. Fear loses its grip. Anxiety no longer anchors you. And people may say, you've changed. And you will smile, not because you've changed into someone else, but because you've returned to who you truly are. The original you. The one who was always in tune with divine order before the world taught you fear, before disappointment dulled your light, before time made you question your worth. You came into this world knowing alignment. You danced in rhythm with divine law before doubt even had a voice. Now you are simply returning to clarity, returning to peace, returning to power, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that creates. The kind that speaks order into chaos. The kind that stands in a storm and says, even this is working for me. The kind that doesn't flinch when things fall away, because you know what falls away was never meant to stay. You stop chasing and start choosing. You stop grasping and start trusting. You stop panicking and start preparing. Because divine order doesn't need your worry, it needs your witness. It needs you to see with eyes of faith, to hold the vision, to speak what others cannot see yet. You're not waiting for the breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You're not hoping for the miracle. You are the miracle in motion. And every time you say the sentence, you shift deeper into that truth. Say it when the room is quiet and your thoughts grow loud. Say it when you're driving alone and the future feels too far. Say it when you're surrounded by people but still feel unseen. Say it when you've been doing all the right things and nothing seems to move. Say it even then, especially then. Because faith isn't proven in the moments when it's easy to believe. It's born in the dark, in the waiting, in the silence, in the ashes of what didn't work out the way you planned. That's where divine order glows the brightest, in the ruins, in the reroutes, in the rejections. Because divine order doesn't just bring blessings, it brings right blessings, aligned opportunities, corrected paths, things that fit, things that last. And isn't that what your heart's been craving? Not another temporary high, not another moment of validation followed by disappointment, but something real, something sustainable, something rooted. That's what divine order brings. It removes what's hollow, it ends what's toxic, it exposes what's false, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because what's coming next requires a stronger version of you, a clearer you, a you that's not easily shaken. That's why the old patterns had to break. That's why the door closed. That's why the silence came. It was never rejection, it was redirection. And the moment you embraced the sentence, you stepped into divine agreement. You stopped resisting the flow and started riding the current. You stopped trying to fix what was crumbling and started preparing for what's being built. Speak the sentence in the face of delay. Speak it when you're on your knees. Speak it when you're climbing that hill, sweating, tired, almost giving up. Let the words echo through your soul like a war cry and a lullaby all at once. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Because even if your hands are trembling, your spirit is remembering. Even if your voice shakes, your soul is aligning. Even if you don't see it yet, everything is already shifting. Because you are no longer dancing to the rhythm of doubt, you're moving in step with destiny, and once you start living from that space, everything starts to rearrange to meet you there. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop clinging and start releasing. You stop fearing time and start flowing with it. And day by day, the heavy cloak of confusion starts falling from your shoulders. You walk a little taller. You breathe a little deeper. You start expecting again, hoping again, trusting again. Not because everything outside is perfect, but because everything within is aligned. You become magnetic, not because of what you do, but because of what you carry. Peace becomes your presence. Authority becomes your voice. Joy becomes your baseline. You begin to attract, not chase. You begin to embody, not perform. You begin to become, not beg. And the people around you feel it. The atmosphere responds to you. Opportunities align with you. Doors recognize your voice and swing open. Not because you forced them, but because divine order was already making a way. Every time you speak it, you are planting seeds in unseen soil. And the harvest, it comes quietly at first. Then suddenly, all at once, the callback, unexpected opportunity, the healed relationship, the money that flows in without strain, the dream you almost buried begins to bloom. Not because of luck, not because of striving, but because of spiritual law, divine order, the most sacred law there is. So say it again, softly if you must, loudly if you can, but say it. Let it rise from your belly like a truth that's always been waiting to be spoken aloud. Let it rise until every cell in your body hums with the knowing that nothing is out of place, that everything is being made right, that what's yours is coming, and that nothing can stop it, not delay, not fear, not even you. You are walking in divine order now. You are standing in alignment now. You are remembering the truth now. And once you begin to walk in that truth, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stay the same. You begin to see it everywhere. Signs, nudges. Divine timing playing out in ways you couldn't have scripted, even if you tried. You'll meet people who feel like long-lost pieces of your soul. You'll arrive in rooms you once only dreamed of entering, and you'll do it with grace, not desperation. You'll do it with peace, not panic. Why? Because you no longer live by the lies of delay. You live by the law of divine order. And with every breath, every choice, every word that flows from your lips, you begin to mirror that divine intelligence in your own life. You become a reflection of spiritual harmony, a vessel for peace, a walking testimony that fear can be replaced, that chaos can become clarity, that doubt can bow to truth. Let the world rush, let it fear, let it strive. You, child of alignment, stand still and know. You walk with a different rhythm now, one that doesn't run with the crowd but dances with the divine. And every time you feel yourself slipping back into worry, every time the shadows of old beliefs whisper again, speak it like a sword, like a light, like a lifeline. Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Let it be your anthem. Let it be your alignment. Let it be your truth. Until everything around you rises to match the power you've finally remembered within. Because you were never lost. You were never forgotten. You were simply being prepared to remember who you really are. And now that you have, nothing can ever stay the same again.